What was a consistent bait that you use all year round, that you'd say that was pretty efficient, almost played a key role in every single tournament that you fished?
This past year, every single tournament except for, I'm going to talk on like the national series with Hobie. Every single tournament except for Lake Chickamauga, I caught heavy of my limit on a spinnerbait.
Spinnerbait.
Spinnerbait catches them regardless of where you are in the entire country, regardless of conditions, whether it's shade lines, whether it is cold, it is warm, it is blowing, or it's slick calm, a spinnerbait catches them. It might not be the best bait at the time, but it catches bait. I caught, I sucked at Toledo Bend. I got 48th out of 200, but all my fish were on a spinnerbait. Lake Eufaula, I won that event on a spinnerbait. Chickamauga, I got 12th, but I was frogging and throwing a mag draft. So, I mean, a mag draft, you could argue that you probably could have gotten bit to with a spinnerbait. Mm-hmm. Susquehanna River, I got 17th on a spinnerbait. Everyone's throwing like Senkos and crap. And just burning a spinnerbait. And then TOC, I was throwing a spinnerbait a little bit, but obviously you saw how that went, so we can throw that one out. But
it was one of the like that Hobie BOS championship, man. It was one of those things is that you have to find that school of rare fish, and you have to sit on them.
Yeah, I was 100 yards from it and watched it go down. But yeah, I would say so. I think a lot of people would say drop shot to that, and I think that's one I wanted to say, but I think one that people forget about all the time is just how good a spinnerbait is. Mm-hmm. I mean, you could throw an ounce and a half and fish it deep, or you could fish it that heavy, like that heavy of a spinnerbait and burn it and fish it shallow. But like when you get around cover, man, that's how I like to fish it, is uptight, making very, very short, precise casts with that thing. It is, I mean, from getting a limit to producing big bites and not getting hung up, you aren't beating a spinnerbait.
For sure. What brand and what weight class should these anglers start out with? Like if they were to go buy two baits right now, what baits would they be?
So, like, are we talking about spinnerbaits? Like what brand?
Spinnerbaits, yeah, exactly.
Okay. If I'm just starting out throwing a spinnerbait, I'm going to get a half ounce. Half ounce is the most universal weight you could have. You can throw it super shallow, but also like if you wanted to, you could fish a little bit deeper water if you're patient and letting that thing get down there, and you can slow roll that. But
if you had a second option for weight class, what would you get? Like you only had two options.
Yeah, because I fish offshore a lot, I get a half ounce or an ounce. I would take an ounce.
Oh, you throw an ounce?
Oh yeah, deep.
Trailer or no trailer?
Always trailer. When I'm throwing deep, I throw a fluke. I throw a fluke.
Oh, okay.
Because that allows that thing to not rise as much as if you have a boot tail, it'll rise faster. But shallow, I throw a boot tail because that keeps it at the water level that I want to keep it at. Mm-hmm. So if I want it high, it'll stay high. But if I want it mid column when I'm in like 4 or 5 foot, I can keep it there a lot easier. There's more control with a boot tail than with a fluke on the back. But I'm going double willow, accent spinnerbait. I think in my mind they make one of the best spinnerbaits on the market. Nice. Double willow, whether that's silver or gold, I'd probably lean towards your hybrid of silver and gold blades. And then if I'm going to get a second spinnerbait, I'll probably get like a 3/8 ounce to a half ounce, and it's going to be one single Colorado blade for when it gets really cold and I need something that's harder thumping. Those colder temps, like right now, late fall or really early spring, big Colorado blade. I think thumps the crap out of them.
In one of the lakes, are you thinking like Cattle Lake, you would throw Colorado blade?
Yeah. Yep.
Dark,
yeah, the temps weren't exactly there just yet. For cattle, it was still kind of that willow range for me. Mm-hmm. Water was super clear, but if it was a little bit colder and a little bit dirtier, I would have whipped out that big Colorado blade for sure.
Nice. What was your line setup and your rod and reel setup?
Yeah, so if I'm throwing, if I'm up shallow, like a caddo, chucking around cypress trees, making short, precise casts, I'm throwing a 6.5 foot medium heavy, super short rod. That way you're making super, super, super accurate casts. I have there's a new Abu Garcia rod out. It's an Adrian Avina Pro Series spinnerbait rod. That's a 6.5 foot medium heavy, and then got an Abu Garcia Revo SX 7 2-to-1 and 20-pound fluorocarbon. That way you can jack them and just wrench them back to the boat. But that deep spinnerbait I talk about, that 1 ounce to 1.5 ounce, I'm throwing a 7.4 medium heavy or a 7.4 heavy, depends on if I'm throwing around brush piles, I'm throwing the heavy because I want to be able to overpower that fish. And then same thing. I'm probably going to throw same Revo SX 7 2-to-1 20-pound fluorocarbon and just jack their face with that rod.
Are you ever stepping down on it? Like, say if you're getting like 10, 15 feet visibility where you're at, are you dropping down the fluorocarbon?
No, because for me, a spinnerbait is one that entices a lot of attention. Same thing with like an A-rig. I mean, even when the water's super clear, they're going to eat an A-rig because of all the blades and the things that are going on. That's where it's attracting the attention of that fish, where line isn't as much of a factor, where if you have more of a micro presentation, that line can play a factor from, from the difference of 8 to 6 pound fluorocarbon, where 6 will allow that bait to have more action, whereas the 8 might take up a little bit more of that action. I don't see that being a factor in a spinnerbait because all that attention is in the trailer and the blades flashing. So for me, I haven't seen a difference in it. And the way I fish those bigger ones, I don't want anything less than 20 for the way I hit them and wrench them out of stuff. It's, you want, especially when you're throwing that heavy too, because you're going to want to bomb it. You don't want anything less than 20.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.